Okay, I think it's recording. Um, okay, hello everyone. So we can get started. So this is what Professor Akinlar provided to us, the structure of the final, which will include these type of questions. That's actually 100 points if I counted everything at a demo. Professor Steinberg didn't give us any structure of how the final will be look like. I'm assuming it's going to be something similar to what I see here, because 111 is a standardized class, and almost every professor follows some kind of same format for the exams. So, a lot of
I
those,
just wanted to, because
yeah.
Professor Steinberg also, he gave us the kind of the first page of the exam. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if that would be useful. I could just send it or no.
Sure, yeah. Could you send it in the chat?
Okay, 1 second. You could add files. Okay. Okay, just give me 1 second.
It should be something similar.
Yeah, no, yeah, I see it. I'm just going. It's like, I'm sorry, my phone is just loading for a second, and
That's it.
I'm
That's
adding it
okay.
right now. Um,
So the revision is only for 2 hours. So I'm not sure if I will be able to cover every topic in this list. Something to notice is that most or a couple of those topics are from previous exams, like recursion. You guys saw it in exam 2, I believe. Then pattern output, this is from exam 1. Then 1D arrays, right? These are also from exam 2. This is also from exam 2, which is using the ampersand sign, pass by reference versus pass by value. So for
I
now,
added it in the chat, by the way, but okay.
thank you. I did not receive it, not sure why. Probably it's taking some time to load. Um, so for now, I'll keep those topics for the end because we already had review sessions for those exams and it's in our YouTube channel. You can look them up. I'll start with these ones and then that ones and then 2D arrays and strings. And then if we have time, then we'll go back and cover the highlighted yellow marks points. Okay, I see the file Kayori sent. Let me download it one
Okay.
second.
Yeah, because I think I sent it to someone privately first, and then I sent it to you.
Okay, that's a syllabus, right?
Yeah, this is like the first page of the exam. It's not the first page, but like I guess the grading rubric for it. You
One
weren't
second.
talking about that, or did you need like the old exam? Because I also
No,
have
no,
the
that's
old
okay.
exam from last semester. Okay.
Okay, I see. Strings, arrays, um, recursion, path by value, path by reference, call functions. Okay, but pretty much the same thing basically.
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, it will be as I said, this is a standardized class, so almost every professor uses some kind of similar structure. So it shouldn't be that different from one professor to the others. So let's not waste any more time. We can get started, and I'll pick questions from the resources Professor sent us. If you guys have any particular question you want me to cover, feel free to send it in the chat. I'll try to break every question down as much as I can. If something doesn't seem right or something looks complicated or doesn't make sense at all, please let me know or ask any questions in the chat. Me or Vikash will answer your questions as much as we can. Also, please, whoever joined late, fill out the attendance form. It helps us in a lot more ways than you think it is. Okay, so first I'll start by going over command line arguments, this topic.
Wait, what first?
We're going over the topics from the final, and I'm starting with number 2 because recursion is part of exam 2, and I'm pretty sure you guys are familiar with it. If you're not, then we'll come back and cover recursion at the end.
Okay.
Let me pick some questions. And also, if you guys have any particular question you want me to cover, just send the question in the chat or let me know so I can cover that instead of me picking a question. So let's see. Let's pick this one. Why not?
Is it possible that we could kind of go over the last semester's
I don't have last semester's exam, so I can't tell
Could
which
I add
questions.
it? I have the last semester's exam. I could also send that as well.
Okay, yeah, that'll be great.
Okay.
Yes, Steven, I will cover recursion at the end if I have more time. Okay. Steinberg's practice exam. Let me see. 1 second. Um, sure, written. Okay, that's great. Okay, I will start with this question as Coyote is trying to send past exam for Professor Steinberg, but it should be something
I
similar.
just sent it. Sorry. Okay.
Okay,
Just sent it.
that's great. Let me see if it loaded. Okay, it did load. Okay, I see the questions. Let me find the command line portion. Um, okay, I don't see a particular command line argument question on the Steinberg's final exam topics. So I'll start with this one, and then I will come back and look over the Steinberg's one. Again, this is a mix of Steinberg and Akinlar, so I can't possibly cover everything from every professor. I'll try to cover as much as I can, but there's just only certain things I can do. Okay, so command arguments, what is that? So first of all, when you run a C++ program, any C++ program in general, you first compile it with something like, G++ compiler, right? You do G++ file name, and then you send this guy at the end to compile it, ./a.out. When you compile any program without command line, you just send this part in command line and it runs it. But if you want to add partial parameters as you run it, they are called command line arguments, which are basically these two. So instead of just running it by default, you can also pass in some extra stuff that you can use inside your program. And those extra stuff are basically command line arguments. And when you send extra stuff, you also inside your main function, you also need to make sure that you include these two portions, this one and this one. What are they? The first one is argument count, which basically says how many arguments are we passing. In this case, there are three because this one, the file name, is counted as the first argument. This is the second argument. This is the third argument. And argv is basically the specific arguments, like it's an array. So the first item in the array is ./a.out. Second item is this guy, A, B, C, D, whatever that is. And the third item is this guy. Now, why there is a star? You don't need to worry about that. This is a pointer. You'll learn that in 211 if you're taking next semester. You'll not be asked why there's a star. What's the importance of that? All that stuff in your exam. So don't even worry about that. Just know that this is an array. An array is storing the arguments as we passing in. Okay, so this question is asking basically, what are these lines outputting, right? What are these lines printing out? Because every line is basically C out here. So first things first, let's just try to see what's going on. Initially, my arg v array will have these three items. So ./a.out, and then ABC, and 1 second. Let me just take this here. There you go. And the last part is ABC 1, 2, 3. ABC 1, 2, 3. And again, array you can think of is like a box or table, and it's 1D array, so it's only one row. And this is the index 0, this is index 1, this is index 2. And then the first line of code.
Drop properly. Says and
I could not hear your question. I'm not, if you ask draw properly, I am trying to use my mouse to draw. I don't have iPad, so the handwriting is bad, but I'm pretty sure you can understand what I'm trying to write here. Could you go over strings? Yes, I will go over string, because string is this part, which is one of the questions in the file. So this is the argument we are passing originally when we ran this line of code. And then this line, the arrow line, is basically making an array with every size 4. The array is called words, and the items are basically strings because it's a string array. So a,
What's
then
that?
very,
Ward?
yeah, that's the words. I just
No, it says
got it from here.
wands.
Well, that's my handwriting. I can't I can't change it as of now. And we have question at the end. Actually, let me just, I want everything in one line, so like that, and then question. Okay. So this is my array with the words array, right? And again, every array starts with index 0. So this is index 0, this is index 1, this is index 2, this is index 3. This is actually easy. Okay, so this line of code, this line of code is done. The next line of code says cout words at 1 dot substring with 2. So substring is a built-in method from C++ string library, and you can call substring by two ways.
7?
I'm sorry. That is 3. That is not 7. Or 0, 1, 2, 3. So substring, again, this is a built-in method. You can call it two ways. You can call it by passing in one parameter, like they did here. If you pass in one parameter, it basically goes to that index, and from that index to the end, the entire thing is my new string. So in this case, for example, words at 1, this guy will give you words at 1 is very, right? But again, there's a space. I should just make sure there's a space here, because there's a space here. So the string is very, and then followed by a space. So that's the words at 1. And substring at 2, meaning you take the string, very space, and string is a array of characters, right? So this is index 0, index 1, index 2, index 3, index 4. You go to that index, and from that index onwards, everything else is your new string. So this part, which is basic ry followed by a space. And that's exactly what substring at 2 does. It gets a string and going to that index of the string, and it, basically from that index onwards, everything afterward is my new string. There is another way you can do substring by passing 2 parameters, like, for example, let's say 2 and 2. In this way, you go to that index and you take this many characters. So in this same example, instead of having ry space, I will do just ry. There is no space afterwards, because I'll go to the index 2 and I'll take 2 characters from there. So this index and that index. So 2 and 3. So I will not include this one. It doesn't make sense, because it doesn't matter, because it's empty character anyway. It's a space, but you should know that this is what we do for passing in no parameter as a second one, and this is what we get for passing in this guy. So if I go back, let me just clear things up. Again, if anything doesn't make sense, please let me know. You can send the question in the chat, or just open your mic and let me know. Someone will answer it. So this part prints out R. Why is it too hard? Okay. R, Y followed by a space. Then the next line is this guy. This guy is saying, this is a for loop. The for loop is starting from index I equal to 0 and is going from 0, 1, and 2, because 0 is less than 2, 1 is less than 2, and 2 is also less than equal to 2, but 3 is not less than equal to 2. So it will run this 3 times, and each time it runs, it's gonna see out. Also, okay, so there's the thing, it's a kind of tricky. You should not get confused. So once you run a for loop, you usually always do a second bracket like this, right? But in this line, there is no bracket. So since there's no bracket in the for loop, it just checks the next line, meaning the for loop is only up to this position, because the next line ends at a semicolon. even though the cout ENDL looks like in the same line, it's not in the same line because the semicolon ends the line. Like in C++, every semicolon means the line ends here. And since there is no bracket like this, if there's a bracket here and bracket closed here, then you can say that ENDL is also part of the for loop. But since there's no bracket here, ENDL is not part of the for loop. So for loop is only in the box I just marked. So don't worry about this as of now. So for loop will run these 3 times, and every time it runs, it basically see out the words array going to that index and going to that index again. So first things first time I equal to 0, right? And this is I equal to 0. So it will go to words at 0, and words at 0 is this guy, which is A followed by a space, right? And in this string, I'll take the same character on that index. So it's gonna go into this string, which is A followed by a space, and I'll take the 0th character. The 0th character is just the A itself.
Wait.
So this is gonna print A as of now.
Wait.
I'm sorry, someone said something.
Why is line A NY down line?
This is not NY, this is very VERY, and downline I'm just saying this is a space, meaning there is a character that is empty space. I cannot
Oh.
just say something like similarly that in the question that they said here, right? Similarly, there's a space after A, there's a space after this N here.
Okay.
Okay, so the first iteration of for loop printed out this A because words at 0 gave me this string, and inside that string, the 0th character is A. So next time the for loop runs, again, there is no ENDL, right? There is no ENDL into the for loop. So whatever I print here, the next time I'm gonna start printing from this position because we didn't do ENDL inside the for loop. So next time I equal to 1, so I'll go to the string VERY because that's the this guy, right, in the words array. And I'll take the first index or the character at first index. So this is index 0, this is index 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'll take this guy, which is E. Again, it will not print in a different line because there is no NDL, so it will be printing in the same line, like that. And the next part is I equal to 2, so it will go to that the string at index 2, and it will pick the second character, or I should say third character, because we start from index 0, which is the character S, because this is index 0, index 1, index 2, and index 2 have the character S. So AES. And this only runs 3 times because next time it runs, this condition fails, right? This condition fails. So we're not gonna do anything here. And that is what we're gonna print for AES for line B.
What's that?
What's what?
Line B, the answer.
Yeah, AES, like we got here.
But how?
I think you just go through the for loop and go through the this line of code, right? This line of code basically checks the array, this array, words array, and it goes to the string, and from that string, it takes the character, which is the same index anyway.
Must have to do with A, E, and S.
Well, I got A from here, and then I got E from here, and then I got S from here.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll move on. So next part is next line of code. Let me clean things up. Okay. So next line of code is basically printing out in the argv array. Right now we're in the argv array. And argv array is this guy, right? The one we made initially. And I'm trying to print out argv at 1. And argv at 1 is this guy, right? Because that's in index 1. So the printed portion will be, I think it was ABCD. No, so just ABC, ABC. ABC, A, B, C. Okay, going to the argv array and printing out the value at index 1, like we just had here. So the next line says words at 3. Again, words, go to the words array and go to index 3, which is this string, question followed by a space, right? Question
Wait, but for the
followed by a
second,
space.
but why like 2 i's? Shouldn't it be like 3 if there's like one letter for each different string?
Well, the for loop runs 3 times, that's why. The for loop here, this guy runs 3 times. It will only run when I equal to 0. It will run when I equal to 1. It will run when I equal to 2. But when I becomes 3, it will not run because 3
No, but
is
then
not less
why
than 2.
2 i's for word?
Well, this guy gives you the string itself, words at I, that gives you the individual strings. Second I gives you the character, because string is a array of characters.
Okay.
Okay, so this line, the one I was trying to ask, say earlier, words at 3 is basically this string, and this find function, again, you kind of have to memorize these functions, find, substring. But again, these functions, the built-in functions they use in the question are like kind of does what you think it does, right? Substring gives you a substring, find something, delete something like that. And when you try to find something, you always go from left to right direction. So you will go to, in this string, the question string, I'll start from this index, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I'll go into this direction, right direction, and I'll try to find the first U. The U I see at index 1, that means the index where the first U occurs will be my answer here, which is just 1. Even if there is another U afterwards, that will not be printed because I just go from left to right direction and I find the first character I'm looking for. The character I'm looking for here is U. So U occurs in index 1. So my answer here is index 1. And the last part basically prints out how many arguments are there, basically value of this guy, right? And again, how many values are there? Basically size of this array, which is 3.
Wait, before line C, like I see like that argv has like this small star dot on near on the left. Yeah.
Yeah, this part.
No, not the one. Well, just go to the left. You see like the small like dot here near argv, like R.
Oh, this guy?
Yeah, like
okay, so as I said earlier,
how's that like affect like line C? And
it does not. It doesn't matter in this course. You don't have to worry about that.
Okay.
You don't have to worry about what it does. You don't have to worry about why it's there. Nothing like that. You just assume it's an area like this.
Okay.
In the next course, CS211, you'll learn what this star means. This is a pointer. Spoiler alert, and it does some stuff that you want. Sure, I will try to do Steinberg's material next question. Again, so yeah, that's how you do this part. Pretty sure everything is straightforward. So now let me see if I can find something from Steinberg's argument question. So let me see. Question 1 from Steinberg. Actually, let me just see which topics overlap. So let me just use those first, and then I'll go over other ones. Okay, so I see recursion in Steinberg's material. Then I see pass by value, pass by reference stuff.
90.
Then I see
wait, let me just
some functions
no.
and some arrays. Okay, so two-dimensional array is a common topic. So let me just go over two-dimensional array now because it's part of both professors, which is this guy, right? So let me just pick the question from Steinberg's materials so that Um, you guys can understand what's going on. Two-dimensional array is this question. Okay. So this is a 2D array question.
Wait, excuse me, please go back to like the first question that we did. Yeah, how is like arc a three
Well, how many
or
items are
line
in this
eight?
array?
Yeah, but ARGC, how's that answer like three on line E?
argc basically means how many items are in argv.
Oh,
If that
three?
answers your question, yes. Is
Mm.
argument count. Arg system for argument count, and
Uh,
argument v is argument variables.
uh, okay.
Okay. So 2D array. Let me see. Thank you for sharing strings. Okay. So 2D array. This question is saying first create a two-dimensional array of integer values with 4 rows and 14 columns. You don't need to specify the numbers in the array. Okay. Ask the user for the name and then ask the user to guess an integer using the user's name in the prompt. Okay. If the integer isn't contained anywhere in the array, keep asking the user for a new integer until the user guesses the number in there. Okay. Okay, I see what's going on. So you don't need to specify the numbers in there. Okay, so I think what the question is asking here is you want to make an array of 4 rows. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4 rows and 14 columns. Let's just say 4 for now, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's say there is a 4 columns here, right? So you want to make an array and you will fill this array with some values, right? I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm just making up some numbers. You can make up your own number, doesn't really matter. 14, 15, 16. And then you're gonna ask the user for the name first. And then once the user inputs their name, you're gonna ask the user to guess an integer using the name in the prompt. If the user guesses anything from this array, right, then it's good. But if the integer isn't contained anywhere in the array, then keep asking the user for a new integer until it uses. Okay, so if the user guesses like 17, right? 17 is not in the array. So it's gonna ask the user, can you guess another number, right? Next time the user guesses 21, and 21 is not in there as well, right? 21, I don't see it. And then you can ask the user again, oh, hey, can you guess another number? Next time the user guesses 11, but now 11 is in the array. So then we just end the program, right? Until the user guesses the number in the array. So
Wait,
as long as any number the user guesses is part of the array, that's where we end the program. And that's the question they're asking here. So it's a full question. So you have to start from everything in the beginning, which is, include iostream. Yep.
excuse me. Wait, but when asked for like enter value wait, do integers have to be like random?
These values, the values in the array, they said create a two-dimensional array of integer values. So I'm assuming you can put up anything you want. I just make up these numbers. You can
Yeah, so
make up
if
your own numbers.
anything we want, but wait, couldn't that like also mean like it has to be like random, like SRAN?
The random part comes from the user because the user is guessing. Actually, let me think. No. Then
Uh,
in that case, I will put random numbers. Okay, fair enough. I'll use random
okay,
numbers
then I
for
guess
every.
then you guess you need like I guess I guess you also need like C time then, like include
Yeah,
C
pretty
time.
much. Yeah, and CST, DLIB, I think. Other one, I forgot them. Well, I don't see the word random. That's why I didn't do random. I don't see the word where it says you have to fill up there with random numbers. it just says you just create a two-dimensional array of integer values.
I think that it could be whichever is easier as long as it's included of integers. I don't think it has to be specified of actual set. So if random integers are easier, then let's just do that.
Sure, why not? Also,
Yeah,
knowing how to run random
I
number
think
is good.
srand's like easy to remember as long as you also remember like C time and C STD.
Again, I don't remember the exact libraries, so you can look them up. But anyway, this is the structure of any C++ program, right? And at the end, we return 0. Okay, so first things first, create a two-dimensional array of integers. So int, um, for now, let me just make up values, and then I'll add random numbers at the end. Let me just make up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's 14, right? So actually, no, it's gonna be a lot. Okay, yeah, it's gonna be a lot. So let me just call an array.
No, by 14 shouldn't be like the 0 to like 0 to 13.
That's the indexes. The values can be anything. Values doesn't have to be 0 to 11. Values can be 1 million, 2 billion, 3 trillion. I don't care.
Okay.
So this is the two-dimensional array, and um, I am not so sure because maybe you can answer it. When I declare an array in C++, do I have to mention the size here, like 4 and 14?
Yeah, you need to mention at least
Okay.
one inside of it.
Yeah, I think so.
For
Because
two-dimensional, you'd have to. But 1D, you don't have to.
Okay, fair enough.
yeah, okay.
So this is what the question was asking, 4 rows and 14 columns. So I did that. So now I want to fill it up with random values. So again, how arrays work, you run for loops for rows and then for loop for columns. So this is a nested version, like similar to pattern problems you've seen before. So for int I equals 0, I less than equal to 3 because 0, 1, 2, 3 are the row values, right? 0, 1, 2, 3. 4 is not there. So we don't go out to 4. And then I plus plus. Similarly, for int j equals 0, j less than equal to 13, j plus plus. Okay. So now I'm just making up random values and then
I'm so sorry. Okay, so why did you use the, are
Wait,
you just using
wait, I
J
can't
as
see the
in substitute for
question.
the columns?
Wait, I
yeah,
can't see
I
the
for rows, j
Oh,
for columns. So these are all
okay,
I
just making
values
sure.
and they're going to be j values. You can,
Okay, thank you.
the name doesn't matter. You can name them mouse and keyboard. Who cares? Okay, so I'm gonna say array at I, at j.
Wait, I can't see the question.
The question is in the chat actually. If you download the file, Kayori sent, it's in the
Wait,
same
what
file.
file?
I think it's
The
called
file's
final.
name is final exam. That's last semester's final exam from the spring. So if you go on the last page, we're working on question 5.
Thank you.
Okay.
So
Okay.
the way you make random numbers, I think you have to pass in srand time here, because you want true random numbers every time, and this portion is basically saying seed a random number at time 0, and time 0 is basically when the program runs. Not to worry about what it does under the hood because you're not gonna
The
be
bracket goes
asked for that.
behind the T and the second one too. So it's srand bracket time
Yeah,
0, then
I
bracket.
just realized.
Yeah.
Yep. So seed a random number at time 0. And then you just make random numbers. So I can say
I'm so
math.
sorry. Could you explain the srand why we're starting at 0? I
Okay,
never kind of understood that.
so if you don't include it, every random number is gonna be same. So
Oh,
this is gonna create 4 times 14. What is that? 40, 64 numbers, right? If you don't
mhm.
include that, it's gonna create one random number 64 times.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And you make random number by this formula, I believe, rand mod, and you pass in some range. There is no range of values, so I'll just imagine 1 through 100. So 100 minus 1, and then I also pass in plus 1. So this formula, I think it's pretty standard. It's basically the range here, the highest value minus the lowest value, and there's the plus 1 inside as well. So this range basically tells you how many numbers are there. So 100 minus 1 plus 1 gives you 100 values, and you start at this value, which is the starting number.
I'm so sorry. Could you explain that one more time? So
Okay, so this is the mod
Yeah.
function, right? Random
Yeah.
number makes a random number, right? And
Yeah.
modulus, if you know how modulus work, if you do
It
modulus
takes a
5,
remainder.
yeah. So if you do modulus 5, the answer can only be 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4, right? It can never be anything else. So you modulus between this guy. That means we're trying to find a number mod 100. The number can only be 0 through 99, right? Because number mod 100 is going to be 0 through 99. But we want to offset it by plus 1 such that 0 plus 1 becomes 1 and 99 plus 1 becomes 100. The actual numbers that can be generated is between 1 and 100.
Okay, so why did you put an additional plus 1 inside the
If you
parentheses?
don't do it, then there is not 100 numbers. There's 99 numbers.
Okay. And you put the minus 1 also for that reason?
So this is the formula to get the range. Any range is the highest minus lowest plus 1.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so this part of the code basically generates random numbers. 4 times 14 is 64 times, I believe. And then it's going to be filled out with the array. So now the next part is basically asking user. So you guys know how to ask the user with cout, right? So I will just say enter your name, and then I have to store that name somewhere, right? So I'll have a string value, let's say name, and I'll store the value that user inputs in this variable called name, right? I ask the user for something, and then I just store it in this variable. And then I'm going to ask the user to enter numbers. So cout. Please enter a number. And if I remember correctly, the question also said to include the user's name in the prompt. So I will do something like this. Please enter a number name. And then I can also do that. This is saying, please enter a number, say my name is Zian. So it's going to say, please enter number Zian, and followed by colon, followed by space. So this is where the number comes. And someone had a question, I guess. Let me see the chat. Okay, so this is user's gonna enter some number, and then I'll have to store that number somewhere, right? So let me just make another variable for the number that user entered, and I will store this number in by saying cin number. And this part is storing the number that user just said or sent, and then I have to check, does this number exist in the array? And how to check that? Again, just go through the array, going row and then column, and then you check, is this number equal to the number user sent? Is this number equal to the user sent? Is this number equal to the one user sent? So and so. So I will do a for loop similar to this fashion to go through the entire 2D array. And then I'll check, sorry.
Nothing.
Okay. And then I'll check if the current value in the array, which is array at I and j, right? Similar to what I did here. If this current value is equal to the number that user sent, which is
for int array, like it says like 4 to 14.
What do you mean 14? There are 14 columns, yes.
Yeah, there's 4 and 14.
Yes. But the indexes are 0 to 3 and 0 to 13.
Okay.
Because the indexes start at 0, so you can't
Yeah.
put 1.
If you
So
do
if you
4
put 1,
here,
you'll have 1 less.
exactly.
Okay.
If you do 4 here, you can just do this. That also works. And 14, and this also works. Because this will never go to 14. This will end at 13.
Okay.
Both of them are right. Again, so what we're checking here is checking, does the number user inputted here is equal to any value in the array? If they are, if this condition is true, I can return 0. That means end the program, right? That's what they said, right? Until the user guesses a number. If it's not, right? If this condition is not true, then I have to ask the user again for the same thing, the same thing. Ask the user
Okay.
again. User gonna enter a different number, and you have to check this guy again. And if that's not true, ask the user again. User's gonna input a different number. Check this guy again. In other words, we need a while loop, and the while loop will be running as long as this guy. Let me do tab.
Wait, I can't see like the whole code though.
That's okay. I will, well, again, this session is recorded. So if something doesn't make sense, you can go back to the recording and then recheck what's going on and what I just described earlier. So this while loop will run as until this guy ends the program, because return 0 basically ends the program like we did here, right? And what's the condition? Since we don't have any particular condition, right? Initially, when I did the program, say I just made this array, right? And then I asked the user, hey, user, input a number. The user entered 21. So we're gonna go inside the while loop because we have to check, does the 21 exist in the array, right? And we're gonna go through this checking process, and none of them will pass because none of them are equal to 21. So then it's gonna go back up again, and it's gonna do the same process again. Ask the user, enter the number, check this, and do the same process. So in other words, there is no such condition that you need to check inside the while loop. So I can just say while true, and while true basically runs it indefinite amount of times. It will never end. Only time it will end is when this guy becomes true. And that's exactly what the question is asking, right? The question is asking, you just go until the user guesses the number there. It didn't say it's gonna only ask 50 times. If the user cannot guess in 50 times, we're gonna stop. Then we will put, something less than 50 here. But since the question didn't ask how many times the user should ask, I'm just gonna set true. It's gonna run indefinite amount of times. Only when it fails, only when it stops is when this guy ends the program. And that's actually the entire code for this question.
Wait, let me just
Any questions so far from anybody?
wait, let me just
I feel like if we're meant to kind of use things throughout the writing out the problem, I feel like maybe if we kind of do it in order, like kind of when you threw in the while loop, it kind of threw me off because I'm kind of trying to write this by hand and also work out how to do this. So
Well,
something like, yeah.
Yeah, so I just added the while loop once I realized that I had to do this operation multiple times,
Oh, okay,
right?
okay.
Because this is the
Right.
operation where we ask the user and we check does the number exist in the thing. So this guy
Okay.
runs multiple times, so I just add a loop before and after.
Okay. I was just saying, well, yeah, I understand that. That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, that's what I do at any problem. I just start somewhere, and then once I need more stuff, I just add things before and after. And obviously you can code in pencil, I can erase stuff and then rewrite stuff before and after. So, okay, so 2D array is pretty much that.
Okay. I also just have one more question. I'm so sorry. For the for loop that we write towards under the right there where we did the while loop, could you explain why we keep that the same as above? Is that just
What do you mean
is
same
it
as above? Or like this?
yeah, because it's
Well,
basically the same thing like you said, right?
yeah, so it's just going through the array, the entire array. And if you want to go to the entire array, you have to go this way 14 times and this way 4 times.
Okay.
So this guy will run 4 times, this guy will run 14 times. And you can set up variables any way you want. You can say something like I equal to 10 and less than equal to 24. because from 10 to 24, there is 14 times, right?
Okay.
Similarly, I equal to 100 and 124. That's also a valid number. Because
Okay.
we don't want to make things complicated, we just start from 0 and go until 13 because, that's the last value.
Right. Okay. I understand.
So if that's clear to everybody, then I'll move on to different topics. And I think someone mentioned strings is part of both professors' string problems. So I will cover this now. Sorry. Okay, so 2D is done. So let me find some string problem from Akinlar's problem set. So we'll go here, program design. Okay, I found one. Mhm. Okay, so this is a good string problem, I should say. Okay, so this question is asking, write a complete program, right? Blah, blah, blah. It's gonna ask the user again to enter an integer, one integer, and it should be between 2 and 10 inclusive. If it is not, then it terminates, meaning return 0. So if it is between 2 and 10, so we're gonna ask the user to enter that word or that many word meaning string, right? And then each of which should be at least 4 characters. So each word or each string the user enters has to be at least 4 characters. Excuse me. Any word that is fewer than 4 characters, we're going to replace the string with error. So if the user enters ABC, it's going to be replaced with ERROR. And the last part says prints the third character from each word, beginning with the last word, ending with the first. For example, if the user says 3 is between 2 and 10, right? So the user is going to print, or user is going to enter 3 words, which is this, and that. And then I will go from the last word and try to find the third character. Third character is this guy, this C. That C correspond to this C here. Third character is this A, which correspond to this A. And third character is this N, correspond to this N. Yes.
Like for the last question, no, yeah, for the last question. Wait, for the string name, like should we like include include string?
What do you mean? It is there here. When I made
like hashtag include string.
I'm not. I don't think so. I don't know when to use string. Either way, I don't really know all the libraries that you have to use because I passed this class a long time ago. You can search them up, and even if you just miss one of those libraries, you're gonna get like 0.5 points off. So I don't suggest you making sure you get this part correct, and don't even know what's going on in this part, which is the maximum points in the question.
Okay.
Okay, so again, so we're just gonna ask the user to enter that many words, and then we're just going from the last word and going this direction, and I will just print out the third character. So CAN correspond to this CAN, and that's the answer. So we can get started if you don't have any question. Okay, so let me do. I can't do side by side anyway. So I'll start here. Hashtag include your stream using namespace std int main return 0. There you go. Okay, so first we ask the user to give us a number. So again, just simple as what we did always, asking the user by cout, enter a number 2 to 10 inclusive. So then user is going to enter some number, and I have to store that number somewhere. So I need a variable for that. Let's just call the variable number. Why not? So whatever number user enters, I will store that number in this variable called number. Then the question said, if it is not, if it's illegal, that means it's not between 2 and 10, it should terminate, meaning return 0. So I can just make a if condition to check, is it between 2 and 10? If number is greater than equal to 2, well, actually number is less than 2, or number is greater than 10, then we return 0, right? In C++, you can only do one checking at a time. So you cannot do something like, I don't know, you cannot do something like this.
I think it should be greater than 11.
Well, I'm just checking the other direction, meaning if it's less than 2, that's illegal. This is illegal. Or if it's greater than 10, that's also illegal.
Okay.
So if either one of those is illegal, then we just terminate the program. If you want to check greater than 2, I'm not sure what to do with that, because either way, you don't worry about that. I guess what you can do if you want to do the actual way, which is greater than equal to 2 and less than equal to 10. So you have to wrap your entire code between this condition, meaning your entire code should go between this portion. So the code only runs when it's between 2 and 10. But I don't want to make this complicated, so I'll just keep it what I had before, which is checking when it's illegal, I just return 0. So now if we did not return 0, that means we are in a good position. So now we can ask the user, right? Makes the user enter that many words, right? So I'll ask the user, cout, enter number many words. This is basically gonna say enter. Number is the number user entered earlier. So if number is 3, it's gonna ask enter 3 many words, or just 3 words. That is good English, I guess I should say. So then these are gonna enter 3 words or 4 words, whatever they write. So I have to store them somewhere. And what's the best way to store them? Arrays, right? And since I need an array, so I will make the array here. So int actually should be string array, because everything here is either going to input is string, right? Like if you look here, this is a string, this is a string, this is a string. So it's going to be string array. Let's just call it array for now. And I think someone said for 1D array, you don't have to declare the size. So I'll just keep it as it is. And I will, let me think, how should I do this? So if I ask the user that many words, the user's gonna enter something, enter something, enter.
I think
So I'll
we
need
have to loop based
yeah,
on user.
yeah, basically that, yeah. So I have to loop. Again, how many times the loop should run is basically the size of the array, right? So int I equal to 0, I less than number, I plus plus, and I'll just do cin inside here. So array at I. What this part does is basically declares an array, ask the user to enter some many numbers. Every time the user input something, it's gonna console input and store the value into that index. So first value goes to array at 0, second value goes to array at 1, third value goes to array at 2, so and so. So now my array has all the values I need. Meaning in this example, my array has final and then exam, exam, and then CSCI 111 as my array. 0, 1, and 2. This is what I have for this example. Okay, so then, I didn't check something. I didn't check this part. Any word that is fewer than this should be replaced by error. In other words, every time user enters something, right? So say the user entered a string. I have to check, does the string has at least 4 characters? Because it needs at least 4 characters here. If it does, then we're good. If it doesn't, then I have to store as an error. So I cannot store something like ABC. I have to store this guy. So I should just modify this by saying, let me just make a string to store that value. So let's just say string value. And I'll, instead of storing right away to array, I'll store in the temporary variable called value. And then I'll check, is this value has 4 characters? If value dot length, also again, length is a built-in function for C++ strings. It just checks what the length is. If it is at least 4, then we're good to go. That means we can just store this value in the array, right? Else is when it's not good. Then I have to say array at I is equal to ERROR. Okay, so what I had originally, that's the same thing, except before I, instead of storing right away, I check, does this value has 4 characters? If it does, then store it. If it doesn't, then don't store the value, but store this string called error. Like the question said, right?
Wait, let me just.
So this is like storing the value from the user, and then this is where I input which part. Either I input the value or I input the error. So that is done, which is part 2 is done. Then I go to part 3. Part 3 is basically prints the third character, right? Third character for every word, beginning from the last word, like going backward direction, right? Starting from here, then I'll go backwards. So again,
yeah. The question again.
What about the question?
Yeah, let me just see the question again.
You can take a picture and look on your own while I do this, because I don't have enough time to cover everything, so I have to kind of move fast.
Wait, let me just. Okay, got it then.
Okay, cool. So again, this part basically enters everything on the array. So I have to go through the array one more time, right? And then I have to go backwards. So how do I go backwards? I have to start at this guy. And then I have to end at 0, right? So what is this value? This value is length minus 1, right? If the array has 3 items, this value is going to be length minus 1, because 3 minus 1 gives you 2. If the array had 4 items, then length minus 1 will give you 3, which is the third index, which is the last index anyway. So I'll start my I, int I, starting from array dot length minus 1, and it will go up until this guy is more than 0, right? Because 0 is the last part where we stop. So 3, 2, 1, 0, and then 0 is where we stop. And instead of doing I plus plus, I'll do I minus minus, because we're going backwards. And what do? I just print out like this, right? In the same line. So there is no ENDL, there is no space, there's no nothing. So I print out cout the third character of every string. So every string is given by array at I, because array at I gives you the actual strings. And I want the third character. So I need another set of brackets, and I put 2 here, because 2 is the third character, not 3. Every string, like if you look at the final string, third character is n, right? But n is at index 2, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I will do, for the third character, I will do 2, because we are 0-based index. And that's it. That's actually the entire program. It will print out the third character between these for loops. And we're going to go backward direction, meaning starting from length -1, and we go up until it's at least 0. So in this case, we're gonna start at I equal to 2, then I equal to 1 because I minus minus makes it 1, and then I equal to 0 because this condition is also true when 0 is equal to 0. But when I minus minus happens one more time, giving us -1, that's where -1 is not, like this condition fails. So we stop the for loop and we return 0, meaning terminate the program. Okay. Any questions so far for this particular problem? If someone said, can you go over recursion? Sure.
Which
Okay, so if nobody have any questions, then I'll move on to a different topic.
Could we go on to recursions for
yes, sure.
Yeah, Mr. Steinberg?
So string is done for now.
Wait, but let me just see the answer for string. That's the
If it's too hard for you to understand,
no,
you can...
no, I just write it down.
Okay. So let me pick a question from Steinberg's material now, since we just did Akinlar's one. And someone requested recursion, so I'll just go over the recursion problem right away.
Why don't we take a photo and let's move on because we don't have much time.
I'm sorry?
Let him take the photo.
Not sure if I understood your question actually.
Can you let him take the photo of this page so we can move
Yeah,
on?
I'm picking the question anyway, so let me see. For example, if I'm return. Okay. So I have a couple questions from Steinberg's material for recursion. I'll try to pick something a bit complicated, so it doesn't look like we're wasting time doing a small, simple one. The return number of copies of digit 7 in the parameter. Okay, we can do this question. This question looks like it's fun. Okay. So now we are on to recursion.
Just what questions are we? Oh, okay.
I picked one from Steinberg because we just did Akinlar's one before. So after that, we're gonna go back to Akinlar's problem. Okay, so this question is saying write a recursive function.
What?
I'm sorry, someone said something. Okay. So this is saying recursive function. We need to write a recursive function, and that doubles all copies of digit 8. So this 8 was doubled here, and 8 at the end also doubled here. Okay, so how can we do this? What's your idea here? Any problem that involves recursion has two parts. One part is the base case meaning where the recursion stops, and the recursive case. Recursive case is basically, calling the same function over and over again, but with smaller inputs, right? This one with smaller input. Because smaller inputs will eventually reach this guy and will stop the base case. So when you get a number, you should know how modulus work for a number and how division work for a number. So any number n mod 10 will give you the last digit, and divide by 10 will get rid of the last digit. Get rid of last digit. For example, if I have 1, 2, 3, if I mod 10, I'll get the last digit, which is 3. And if I divide by 10, I'll actually get 12.3 in math, but in comp sci, since it's integer division, I'll ignore the decimal portion, I'll get 1, 2. That gets rid of the last digit. And that's the idea for recursion. When I call a smaller input, I will do divide by 10. So it basically goes from 1, 2, 3 to 1, 2, and then 1, 2 to 1, and then 1 to 0. And I can take care of the last operation every time by doing modulus 10. So what can I do here? if I have 1808 originally, right? I can say the last digit, I can get the last digit by saying num mod 10. And if this number is equal to 8, because we're only counting 8 here, or I should say we are only duplicating 8 here. If this number is equal to 8, then we're gonna do, we're gonna have to make this 8 to an 88, right? This 8 will become an 88. Now, if it's not an 8, for example, this guy, when we are gonna do the same operation with the parameter 180, so last digit is 0, which is not equal to 8, so I don't do anything, I just keep it as it is and then move on to next recursive call, which is gonna be 18, and then 18 is gonna go to 1, and 1 is gonna go to 0, because every number, if you divide by 10 long enough, will reach 0. Once they're 1 digit long, 1 divided by 10 will give you 0.1, but decimal portion is ignored, so this becomes 0. And that is my base case, because I can safely say that every number, when I do this operation as long enough, we're gonna reach this case, and that's my base case here. So now that we have some kind of idea, we can start our coding. Okay, so the function is already written here, the title line. I'll write it anyway. 88 int num. Okay, so first things first, there is a base case, and there is some kind of recursive case. Base case, again, as I described earlier, we're gonna check when num becomes 0, because eventually when we divide by 10 long enough, it will become 0. And once we become 0, I can return 0, because 0 is the default value. And when you go back up, it actually, let's just skip this portion for now. Let's just say we don't know what's gonna return from here, but we're gonna figure it out at the end. So I have to get the last digit somehow. So I'll just call it last digit, which is gonna be num mod 10, because when it's not equal to 0, it's gonna have at least 1 digit long, and 1 digit long or more than 1 digit long mod 10 will give you the last digit of the number. And then I have two cases, right? If last digit equal to 8, do something. And if last digit not equal to 8, do something else. Right? That's the two cases.
Couldn't it be an else?
Yeah,
if else or
that's
okay.
okay. That's okay. Both works. Both works. I'm just making sure you guys understand what's going on. If it's not equal to 8, if it's not equal to 8, then it is. If it's equal to 8, then we do this portion. If it's not, then we do the else portion. So else portion is easier. Let's write down that quickly. When, let's say, my num originally was 180, right? So my last digit here is gonna give me the 0, because num is 180. So 0 is not equal to 8. So we're not gonna do this portion. We're gonna do this portion. But what do you want to do? This portion, we're gonna call something recursively, right? And let's just write the recursive case first. 88 by num divide 10. Because we want smaller input every time we call recursively, right? So that it eventually reaches the base case. So let's say the 88, for example, let's make a sample input, right? Let's say 1 to 0. None of them are equal to 8. So every time we run this function, we're gonna do this guy, because none of them are equal to 8. So what do we want to achieve? Initially, my last digit is equal to 0, and I call recursively by 12, right? So the same function, so just called function f. I call function f by 12. So what is function f by 12? Function f by 12 is gonna get the last digit as equal to 2, right? And this function is gonna call the same function but 1 this time, because it's gonna get rid of the last digit. So what does function 1 do? Function 1 is gonna get last digit equal to 1, because this is the last digit. It's gonna call same function with 0, because 1 divided by 10 is 0. what does this function do? This function eventually becomes the base case, right? So now say this function, when base case becomes true, base case is true, so we return 0. Let's just say we return 0, right? That means this guy gave me 0. What does that mean? So when I call this function, that means I have to somehow I have to somehow make this function return 1, right? Because when the input is 1, output should be 1. So how do I go from 0 to 1? The trick here is you just multiply it by 10 and add the last digit. And that's the trick we're going to use every time. Multiply the result times 10 and add the last digit. Basically what it does, you'll see what it does. I'm not going to spoil it. So let's say we do this operation. So 0 times 10 is 0. 0 plus 1. 0 times 10 is 0. 0 plus 1 will give you 1. This function was going to return me 1. So now this function returns 1, right? And I do the same operation. 1 times 10 plus last digit. So 1 times 10 plus 2, that gives me 12 plus 2. I'm sorry, 10 plus 2, which is 12. And see how it's making sense, because when the input is 12, output should also be 12. So it's going to return me 12, and then this function is going to return me 12. I do the same operation times 10 plus last digit. It's going to give you 12 times 10 plus 0, which is going to give you 120, right? 120. And that makes sense, because when the input is 120, output should be 120. And if you didn't recognize it, what's going on is basically take some number n, and you add a 0. You pad a 0 afterwards. And then you change the 0 based on what the last digit was. Because any number, if you times it by 10, it just adds a 0 at the end, right? If n was some number, if you times it by 10, it's going to give you some number, same number, and we're going to pad a 0 at the end. And then you can change the 0 by adding some stuff, by adding the last digit that was originally calculated. And that will give you the n times the last digit. And that's the entire idea. So since we know what to do for the else statement, let's just quickly run it down. So we're going to do double divide by 10, and the result, whatever that is, we're going to times it by 10 to pad a 0, and then I'm going to add the last digit. So I don't lose that digit, for example. Any questions so far what's going on into this recursive case? If not, then I will move on to the other condition, which is when they are equal to 8. So when they're equal to 8, I will do something similar, actually. Let's just write down actually means something should be returned, not just that, because I have to return that number. So return that. Returning basically returns the value of that into this function. If I don't do return, then it's never going to return that value from, like, for example, when I got the value 1 here, I will never get the 1 here, because we didn't return from this guy to that guy. So for the case where they're equal to 8, we're going to do something similar. So return, let's copy this for now. Copy, paste. But now, let's just think it through. Let's just try a test case. So when it was 1, let's say this one was 1 to 8, right? The result should be 1 to 8, 8, right? Result should be that, because the 8 should be duplicated. So this function is correct, right? This function is correct. This is what it's supposed to return. So we're going to get 12. Okay, that's good. We're going to times it by 10 to get the extra digit after 12, which is 120. But if you realize it, we actually need 2 digits here, because I need to add 2 digits at the end. All this time, we're adding times it by 10 because we only needed 1 digit, right? Because we didn't duplicate them all this time. All of those were else condition. But now this is the if condition. We have to duplicate them. That means instead of timing it by 10, I'll time it by 100. So I get 2 extra spots at the end, so that I can just add the 88 and I get my answer, which is 1288. Right? So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Instead of timing by 10, I'm gonna time it by 100. So I get 2 extra digits. And then instead of adding the last digit, I know the last digit is 8, right? I'll just add 88. Because 88 is gonna be what's gonna be padded after I get 12 to 1200, and I'll add the 88, and that gives me the answer I'm looking for. Okay, and that's actually the enter code. I just didn't write the 0 here. Any questions so far? For almost all the recursive problem I've seen for this course, you're gonna get some kind of numbers as inputs, right? Integer numbers. And for every numbers, the trick is basically this. Do mod 10 to get the last digit out, and do divide 10 to get rid of the last digit. And you have to figure out what to do with the smaller input, right? For example, once I go from 128 to 120, what do I do with 12? And then what do I do with 1? And once I reach the base case, I do something. And then when I go back up, what's the formula I need? Almost all the time, it's something similar to this, where I times it by something to get extra digit or extra 0 at the end, and add my last digit I didn't include in my next call. Okay. If none of you have any more questions, then I'll move on to a different topic. Okay, seems like nobody had any questions, so let me see which topic next should be preferable. So we just did recursion. Does someone from Steinberg's class verify, do you guys have file input output for the final?
Yeah, that is one question.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, if you guys have, then it's better to know it. So I'll just go over this topic because we have like 50 minutes left. And then I'll go into some this guy, because this guy seems like, similar topic on both classes. So let's move on to file topic, file inputs. File input. So let's find something from Professor Akinlar's problem set. Let's see. Okay, found one. Okay. Okay. So the way these questions are asked here, someone pasted the solution, which looks like similar to what I had. Yeah. Yep. That's correct. Okay. So these questions, the way they're asked here is to write small functions, all right? Write blocks of code. I mean, like small functions, and you want functions for each one of those 5 parts, right? You want a function for this, you want a function for that, and that. They're gonna be small functions, so like 1 or 2 lines long, maybe 3 lines long or 4 lines long, but small enough so you don't have to write too much. Okay, so let's try to go through it line by line. So first things first, it makes 3 variables, A, B, C, and then name them A, B, C. What is if stream? If stream is input file stream, I believe. You can think of it as similar to cin. When do you cin? You use cin to capture things from your keyboard, right? When you type something from your keyboard and hit enter, the cin captured that value that you entered from your keyboard. And if stream, something similar, except strem, except it captures item from a file. Like for example, this file, testfile.txt. And you can open this file by saying, the f variable that I declared for each stream dot open and then the file name. And the other things to worry about is this thing called C string, and I'll go through it once I arrive at that position. So this if string is what that does, then I declare a variable called string s, which is the string hello, and this is something called C string or C style string, I believe. C style string. And I mean, this is similar to like a regular string or regular array. There's only one difference, which is you don't have dot length property for this type of string. Like, you know how you can do as dot length in regular string, and for this example, it will give you the length 5. You cannot do t dot length on this case. Even though that looks like a string, it is a character array. In other words, a C style string. So you don't have access to that. So you have to like manually get the length, if that makes sense to you. So let's just move on to the actual question. The question is saying test whether number is even. So this line is basically calling this function is even and passing in the C. C is an integer, right? C is an integer. And checking is this number even or not. Should be simple enough. Let me write the answers here, I guess. So is even.
Wait, let me see the question.
Okay, we can write here actually. So is even, it takes one parameter, right? The parameter C here, and C is an integer. So I'm gonna put an int here. You can name the variable A, B, C, doesn't really matter. I'll put C for now. And what is the return type of the function? The function is wrapped around if statement, right? Whatever the result of the function is wrapped around this parentheses.
It's too close.
Well, if you I can't stop or waste too much time on one question because I have other topics to cover during a certain time. So if you just hurry up. So this function is wrapped around these two parentheses. So that means whatever the result is has to be a Boolean type. Why? Because if statement only takes a Boolean value or bool in C++. It can only be true or false. It can only be true or false. It can never be like 1, 2, 3 or A, B, C, D, something like that. So whatever the result of this function is has to be a Boolean. So the if statement can check is this Boolean value true or false, right? That's why the output or the return type is Boolean here. And how to check if a number is even or not is as simple as checking mod 2 because return C mod 2. What does mod 2 does? Any number C the mod by 2 is only going to be 0 or 1.
See the question.
You should take a picture when I cover this question so we don't hold the entire session. You can take a picture from your phone or you can take a picture from your computer and then you can look at it while I do the question itself.
Wait, I don't see int main.
There is int main. What do you mean? Even if there is not, that doesn't make a problem for this question. This question is only asking you to make these functions. Don't worry about other stuff. You don't worry about why there is no include iostream, for example. So I was explaining earlier, what does mod 2 does? Mod 2 only gives you these two values, 0 or 1. 0 meaning the number is even, and 1 meaning the number is odd. Any number, for example, if the C is 4, if I do 4 mod 2, answer is always 0. If I do 5 mod 2, answer is 1. So mod 2 basically checks does the number is even or not. And I can just return that value. If you don't want to do one line, you can do, two conditions saying if C mod 2 equals 0, return true, else return false. This also works. If it's even, return true because the question is asking is it even or not. If it's not, then return false. As simple as that. Then the part B is saying remove first and last characters from a string. So here ELL. Okay, so for example, this string S was originally hello, and we got rid of the H and got rid of the O. We got ELL.
Wait, the thing that's highlighted in orange.
That's something I did. I was searching through the file.
But
if
what's
stream.
if stream?
I just explained it to you earlier. It's called input file stream. It's similar to cin. If you know what cin is, it's similar to that.
But then what's the difference if it's just
Well, the difference is you are reading from a file, not from a keyboard. When you do cin, you are typing something on keyboard, hit enter, cin capture that value. If stream capture something from a file. Like for example, this file in this example, test file.txt. Okay. So
does that file already have a code?
well, you don't need to worry about that. Just worry about what's in the code. You don't need to worry about what's in this file. This file
Okay.
can have like 1 trillion line of code. I don't even know. I don't need to worry about that.
Okay.
Okay, so part B is saying, well, yeah, so we string hello and we remove the first and the last. Again, it's similar to the substring problem because it's saying for the string hello, let's just do some draft here. Hello, this is the string s, right? I want a substring as ub str. And remember when I explained the substring problem, there is two ways you can call it. You can call it by one parameter, or you can call it by two parameter. And the first parameter is basically where I start from. Second parameter is how many characters I take. So if I don't want this guy is index 1, right? So I'm gonna start from index 1, right? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And how many characters do I take? So you can do some math here. So what's the length here? Length is 5. And I want to end at this guy. That means 5 minus 2. And you can try it with different examples. For example, if s equal to abc, and I want to remove this guy and that guy, I do substring, same substring as dot substr, pass in 1 because I don't want the 0th index, if that makes sense. And I'm gonna do length minus 2. And length is 3 here. 3 minus 2 is 1. That means go from 1, this is index 1, and take one character,
Wait, but what's
which
like
is basically this part.
okay, asking us like questions like A to E.
Yeah, there are 5 parts, and you want 5 functions, 5 small functions, I should say.
Wait.
Could you take a picture? I just told you.
I think that it would be easier if you guys take pictures so we could just move on to the next problem because there's only like 30 more minutes left.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Okay, so let me write down the B portion real quick. B portion was it was a function to remove ends. Remove ends. It takes a string. And what does it return? It also has to return a string, right? Because we're returning a substring here. And the string that we return is going to be couted or printed to the console, I should say. So I'm going to do a string here as well. And what I just described earlier, I'm going to return a substring of the same string as ubstr. And I'm going to pass in 2 parameters. First one is where I start, which is index 1. Second one is how many characters I take, which is as dot length minus 2. And this math, you can just figure it out by trying out different examples and making sure if that works or not. And that's the answer for part B. Moving on, part C is saying print the first word in the input file. Okay, so we're gonna need to know how to do it with if stream, right? Again, what is f? F is a type of if stream, or I should say input file stream. So let me just quickly write down the title line. First word, and the input is f. F is a type of if stream, strem. And I'm not sure, maybe someone can correct me if I'm wrong. I think you also need ampersand here. Wait, someone said something?
No idea.
Yeah, you do need an ampersand there.
Okay, so you need the ampersand here. Every time you pass in a variable of if stream, you need to pass in as a reference, meaning the ampersand.
Yep.
And what is the output? Again, what does this say? Print the first word. what is a word? Word is a string, so the output should be a string, like that. And I'm sorry, how do I print the first word? Not entirely sure actually. Let me look up the
We find a
solutions.
space. We find a space, then
Mm.
we cat it before the space.
2, 2, 2, 6.
A or K.
Mm,
Just
okay, the answer is okay. So you basically read it one more time and then you just okay, fair enough, return that. Okay, so similar to the idea with C in, as I explained earlier, you just treat as if it's a C in. So if this guy was F, so I'm gonna say let's just call it something else. Let's just call it file. Imagine this is C in. How do you read something from keyboard? You do C in and then the value, right? But here my C in is the file or the F as I had originally. So I'm going to F, F, then angle bracket, and then the string. And I have to store this value somewhere. So I'm going to need new variable for that. Let's just call it a string X, and I need to return that value at the end. And this is it. Just treat this as a cin, right? How do you get the cin value? If you ask user for an input, user gives something, you do cin X, right? And you make a variable X beforehand. Treat it the same way and do F and the angle bracket to the right side, and then the variable where you want to store it. Once this is stored, then you can return the value from the variable. And if you want to do it multiple times, like if they say print, 5 words, first 5 words, then you run a while loop or a for loop 5 times, and you just include this inside the for loop. That's all. Okay, so that's part C. Then let's go to part D. Part D is saying print last character of a C string. Here, so the C string was the same string actually, hello, but it's a C style string. Was someone said something, I guess? Okay, never mind. So, by the way, Vikash, do you see people who are trying to join the session?
Oh, no, I don't see anyone.
Oh my God, I didn't even know that. People are trying to join all this time. I thought you have the access to that. I was the one who can only. Wow. So I am extremely sorry for people who just joined. I thought my substitute here had access for the people who are trying to join. Anyway, people who just joined, you can watch the recording. I tried to explain this stuff as much as I could. If something doesn't make sense, then I'm sorry for that. Moving on. It was actually my fault. I didn't even realize that Vikash wasn't a host. So part D is saying print last character of a C string. So again, how do you print a last character of a regular string? If you just do it, let me just quickly write the title lines first. Last char and T. What is T? T is a character array, right? T is a character array. So I'll do the same thing here. Char T. And what that's return is going to return, if you look at the thing, last character. So it's one character. So it has to be a type char for the return type. So that's that. And then how do you print the last character? You usually do, if it was a string, you'll do t dot t sub t dot length -1, because if it has 5 character, then you want the third character because third is the index of the last one. So you will do 4 - 1. But since C string doesn't allow you to have the dot length, you cannot do that. So you have to somehow manually find that value. And you can find it by a while loop or something. I don't really care. Only thing you need to know is all C string ends with a null value. For example, the string they gave in the question, hello. Actually, let me just make it because co-host, I don't have to wait for anybody else.
Wait, but what are you doing?
The co-host.
But like, where's the rest of the answered.
Well, I'm making the answer as of now. I haven't done everything yet. So this is the C string that they provided. You have to imagine that after the last
Wait,
O,
but I mean answer B.
B is right here. Okay, so the C string that the question provided has hello, but you have to imagine that after the
Let me
last
just
O,
take a picture of B.
you can take a picture when I scroll up back up. I'm trying to explain something here.
Okay, then.
So this character that I just wrote is a null character. It basically tells you that's where the string ends, right? If I have a string ABC, right, it actually has ABC, then the null character. And that's your sign that when I run a while loop or for loop, once I see this character, I can stop it. I can say, oh, hey, this is where the string ends. Let me stop it right here. Wait a second. You can do dot length, extra length. Oh, okay, never mind. So, okay, so we're gonna run the while loop, and I'll do int count, basically counting how many characters are in the array, initializing with 0, and I'll do I'll also need, I'll check is t at count not equal to this null character. I'm not sure if it's like this slash or the other slash, backward or forward. You can search it up. I just realized there's another way to do it without this while loop, but you can run both ways.
The slash should be the other way.
Okay, it should be the other way.
Mhm.
There's another way to do it. We can actually skip the while loop and directly call str length. But I'll explain in a second. Let me just finish this part. So you just check as long as it's not null, and you wanna go count plus plus inside. So first time.
Why see like that other symbol instead of being like around parentheses?
Well, that's the character. How do you
No,
declare
not the
character?
character, for answer C. Like I
After
see
C.
that, I see like C here, like
Mm.
above D. Yeah, like that.
Oh, this one. This
Yeah.
is a, it does it automatically. Copyright symbol. I don't know why.
Hmm.
Yeah, so they're gonna count how many characters like this. As long as it doesn't equal to the null character, you're gonna update the count, and you can just play it around. Initially, count is gonna be 0, count is gonna be 0, and then it's gonna check this guy. Is this guy equal to this null character? Is not, update the value. Is it equal to null character? Is not, update the value, and eventually it will become this character. At that time, the value would be 5, and that is my length, right? So that's how you can check if it's a how much item you have for this character, and then you can return like a regular string, which is return t sub count is how many characters we have, minus 1, because the last item is length minus 1, right?
Yeah.
I just realized that there is a quicker way to do it, which is calling something called str length.
Okay.
Yeah, str length. So instead of having all that, you can how do I comment it out? I can't. Let me use this thing. This is a block of comments, so it doesn't run when I run the code. Instead of having all that, you can return something like t sub str length or strlen, strlen, and then x. So this is like a special method for C string, not for regular string. For regular string, we do dot length, right? Like we did all this time. But for C style string, you do this guy, str length, and pass in the variable, which was, well, actually it's a t, not an x,
Hey.
which is this guy. And you can do that, and both of them works the same way. Okay, so moving on.
Wait, what?
This is the built-in method, so you can memorize it. You can.
Yeah, you need eat. You need to do like eat now.
Okay. So part E says rotate ABC so that it becomes 3, 4, 2. So ABC was 2, 3, 4, it becomes 3, 4, 2. Okay. So
First word.
it was A equal to 2, B equal to 3, and C equal to 4, I want A to have a 4, B to have a 2, and C to have a 3. Basically, it's going, this guy. 2 goes there, 3 goes there, and 4 goes there. That's what I want to achieve, right? If you guys know how to swap 2 variables, it should be familiar how to swap 3 variables. It's the same idea with a temporary variable. So the title line is going to be rotate ABC. So rotate and 3 parameters. So int A, int B, int C. And if you look at the question, they said there is no cout, right? There is no cout in this line. The cout is in the next line. That means this function does nothing except the swapping portion, which is basically making it a void function. Once this function is done, that's when I print it, and that's where the values are swapped. That means I have to make the swap permanently. What does it mean? I have to pass them with a reference. So they actually change in my main function, not in my rotate function. Because if I don't include the ampersand, it's only gonna change inside the rotate function, but inside my main function, which is the original question, it will still become the same, which was 2, 3, 4 originally. So how do I rotate 3 variables? You can just play it around, figure out what line of code does what. If you remember how to swap 2 variables, like for example, if I had A equal to 2 and B equal to 3, and I want A to have a 3 and B to have a 2, I will do temporary variable, right? A temporary variable to store the values of A, then A becomes B, B becomes temp. So if you follow these 3 lines, temporary will store the values of A, which is 2 originally, and then A becomes B, so A will become 3 because right now B is 3, and B become temp, temp is 2, right? So B becomes 2, and that makes sense because A becomes 3 and B becomes 2, which I wanted originally. Same idea here, it's just three variables. So go back. So I had A equal to 2, B equal to 3, and C equal to 4. So I want to store one of them in a temporary variable. Let's just store the A. So right now temporary has the value 2. Then I want actually let me think. If I store the A, then I can set A equal to B, B equal to C, A equal to B, B equal to C, C equal to temp.
Yeah.
What does it do actually? So if I store it like this, temporary gonna have a 2, then A becomes B, so A becomes 3, right? Because B is 3 as of now.
Wait, but where's answer D?
What do you mean D? There is no D here.
No, I mean like the answer for D.
I just wrote it here. This session is recorded, so if you didn't follow through, you can watch the recording and look at the answer. So as I was explaining, temporary gonna have a. So as of now, A was 2, so temporary had 2. Then this line of code was done. A becomes B, so A becomes 3 because B is 3 as of now. And then B becomes C, so B will become 4 because C is 4 now. And then this line of code, C become temp. Temporary is a 2, which is 2. And if I remember correctly, 3, no, actually that's not what I want. I want 4, 2, 3. So I want A, B, B, C, C.
Can I suggest something?
I'm sorry?
Instead of A equal to B, you should swap B equal to A.
Oh, you're right. Yes. B, no. If I do B equal to A, then that becomes, it has 2, 3, 4 originally, right? So B becomes A, so B will become 2. Temporary still holds at 2. Not really, no, it cannot work. Let me think this through 1 second. A becomes B, B becomes C, C becomes 10. So A becomes B, so A becomes 3. But I want A to be 4, so A becomes C actually. So A will become 4. But then C doesn't, I lose track of C, so C needs to be stored here. This guy stores C. No, not really. Then I lose A also. Ooh, I didn't know 3 variable can be that tricky. Template store and well, I don't want to waste too much time here, so I'm just gonna ask somebody I can trust, like ChatGPT, and ask how to solve
I
this so I
think
can
I
move
think
on.
the
I don't
rotate
think
was correct from you did before. The
Was it?
original one. Yeah, I don't think you want to set A equals to 4. I think you want to set A equals to B.
2, 3, 4 becomes 3, 4, 2. Oh wow,
Yeah, because
I was right.
you're
Yeah,
just rotating it, so just
3, 4, 2.
one shift, so it would become the next number.
2, 3, 4 becomes 3, 4, 2. 2, 3, 4 becomes 3, 4, 2. 3, 4, 2. Oh yeah, so I was right originally. Okay.
Yeah. So that
Okay,
would be the answer, yeah.
it's fair enough. So this is the answer actually. Well, I had the same idea from the swapping 2 variables, which is just storing the first one and just moving everything one by one. So it becomes B, B becomes C, and C becomes the first variable. First variable, I store it in the temp, right? I just set it as it is. So yeah, so that does it. So I'll store it. Int temp, store the first one, and then just swap everything. So A becomes B, B becomes C, and C becomes the first variable, which is temp. And that's the answer for part E. And that's the actual enter code of this type of problem. If anybody don't have any more questions, then I'll move on to a different problem.
Hey.
Could we do another question off of Steinberg's material?
Sure, yeah.
No, we
Something.
only have 10 minutes left.
Yeah, so we have to go through one by one. So since we did one for Akinlar, I have to go back to one for Steinberg.
Wait, no, do down for E. Wait, the answer for E.
I think that it would be easiest if you just take a picture so we can move on to the next question.
Someone from Steinberg's class, could you confirm 1 second? Could you confirm which one of these topics you have on your file?
So I feel like if we could go back over for string methods and use like different types of the string variables, like the string literals. I'm sorry, if
Do you
that
have the
makes
question
sense.
number on your file?
Let me just open it really quickly.
Well, Professor Steinberg actually gave us a good
I
list
think
of methods.
yeah, so question 1 is good. If you could go back over that one, and it also has the string class methods.
No, this is like
So
for you to understand or in memorize
yeah.
stuff.
I just wanted to like kind of go back over question 1 to kind of understand how to kind of go through it.
Question 1 does it?
Question 1 or three, to be honest. Question 1 or 3 are both fine.
Let's 3 looks like 4 filters. 3 isn't particular string problem. 3 is more of a regular math or just arithmetic
Oh
knowing
yeah,
what to do.
no. I just meant like number 3 in the sense that that's a good one to go by as well.
Okay, I see. So I'll go 1 for now, and then I'll if I have time, then I'll do something else. This is something Professor Sternberg provided for their class, which is just knowing all these methods. What it does, length gives you length, finds like we did, finds a value or finds a character. You can do find in 2 ways. This is the fun, having a starting index, not always equal to 0. Right find finds from the right side, so going from right to left instead of usually going from left to right. Erase removes a character, obviously, and how many times. Replaces something. Append something. It just basically in the name suggests what it does, right? So you don't need to memorize a lot. So let's just go back to question 1. Also, if you guys have to leave, because could you start sending out the feedback form so people who
Yeah, I already sent it in the
okay, great,
chat.
great. If you guys have to leave, please feel free to do the feedback form before we leave. It helps us host more review sessions in the future. Again, whoever joined late, I'm extremely sorry. I was actually responsible for getting you in, but I was too focused on this part that I didn't even realize that. Okay, so question 1 said, this is string again. Also, like if I didn't include some of these topics, which are like this one we covered in question exam 2 for Akinlar. You can watch the exam 2 review session from YouTube. Similar to this one, this is part of exam 2. This is covered in exam 2 review session on YouTube. This is part of exam 1. So you can watch the exam 1 review session on YouTube, and they will cover from that topic. So technically, we already covered everything from here.
Yeah,
So
we
just go ahead.
did because we also did a review for Steinberg as well for the second exam and the first exam, and some of the material that are in the questions here, they're also on the second review. So you can look at that one. It's already on the Learning Commons page. It was done by myself and MD, but he's not here. But it did cover some of the topics that you were asking about.
There we go.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, so looking at this question, let me read it one more time. Complete the following function that converts a user's full name into their username. Okay. A full name consists of a first name, any number of middle names, and a last name separated by spaces. Okay, username consists of the first letter of the first name followed by the entire last name. Okay, however, all copies of the lowercase letter e are replaced by the number 3. Okay, good to know. So for the name Oren Stanley Steinberg, the username becomes this guy, the O, and then the entire Steinberg, except for every E, I convert it to a 3. Okay, not too shabby. Make sure you use at least 2 different string methods from this list. Basically, that's what he is trying to ask here. And iterate over the entire string using string index and so on. Okay, cool. Not too bad. So let's start writing. The idea line is already given, so that I don't have to write down again. Okay. So, sorry. So the name itself is, one second. So it said convert, right?
Wait, we only
That
have like
means
we only have like 5 minutes left.
that's okay. I can stay for a bit more time as long as we get the question right. So when you say convert, that means, and you can also see the hint here, which is ampersand sign. That means your name, the variable name at the end, at the very end of the upper code, it should have this value, right? Initially, the name has this value, which is the entire name, including middle name, first name, last name, blah, blah, blah. At the end, the name should have the username because it said convert, right? So, and also the password reference is a hint that you have to change the name string. And it's also a void function, so it can't return a string, right? It's a void function. You have to change the name variable inside your function. Okay, so let's start writing code. First things first, I have to get. So I'm gonna assume there's at least two parts of the string. This is the first part. This is the second part. Because it said it has at least first name and the last name and any number of middle names. So middle name can be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, blah, blah, blah. So let me see what functions they provided here. They provided length, find, rfind, erase, replace, append, insert, and substring. It would be better if I could use the split function, split. It basically splits. If I put split and then do the space here, this empty space, it will split the string into 3 different parts. That would be great, but they didn't give us the split function. Or maybe there is no split function in C++, but maybe someone can correct me. So find target start index, find target, erase, replace. Okay, so I think the way I'm trying to do it, because even if there's at least 2, like even if this is not there, it's at least 1 space, right? So I can look for that space, right? Once I find the space, everything beforehand is gonna be my first name, and everything after it is gonna be my last name. Now, if there are middle names,
Right? Find and add find.
yeah, exactly, yes, exactly. If there are middle names, then I have to do rfind because we don't really know where the last space occurs. So if I start going to the code, So I have to somehow find the first space. So find the first space, and I have to somehow find the first space from the right side, right? Because finding the first space from the right side gives you, everything after that is my last name. So let's see. So I'll do as.find first space, and this will give you the index, right? This will give you the index of the first space. So if I count properly, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You get the idea. So the space I'm looking for is at index 4, right? So as.find gives me 4. So I have to store this in a variable. So let me just store it in a variable. Let's just call it int first space. You can name it whatever you want. I just call it first space. And I'll do the same thing for the last space. So int last space. So that will find the index of the last space. So once I know where the first space occurs, then I can make a substring from 0 to 3 to get my first name, and a substring from this guy to get my last name. So I'll do s dot substring, right? Sub, where's substring? Yeah, there you go, substring here. And I'm going to use this guy actually, not the first one, because I need to know where to stop the string. So you start from 0 because 0 is where the first name starts.
Wait, it's 9 now. Can I just leave?
Yeah, you can leave. Nobody's stopping you. You can leave whenever you want.
Okay.
But before you leave, could you fill out the feedback form?
I already did.
Whoever else is in the
Already
call.
did.
Thank you so much.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. So after substring, string from 0, then I have to go. So in this case, right, the first space will store me the value 4, but I need to stop at 3. But I need 4 characters, right? For starting from 0, I need 4 characters. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I can actually do like this, and this will be a good solution because we're starting from index 0. So first space is 4. So 0 and go on until 4 amount. So 4 characters long. And that will be my first name. So I'll just store it in a variable called first name. First name equal to that. So now let's do the same thing for last name. But it's going to be a bit tricky because we cannot just do. Actually, I can do something else. So for last name, I don't even need to know how many variables or how many characters I need to pick. This was index 12, I believe, or 11. Someone can correct me. So this was the space, right? Or the last space, 12. Starting from 13, this is the 13th character. Everything afterwards is my entire last name. So I can actually abuse this method because this method is gonna pick the index and go until the end. And that way I don't have to worry about how many amount I need to take for the last string, right? Because that's the last word anyway. So I'll do the same string method, but I'm gonna pass in the last space plus 1 because I don't want the space. I only want the character after the space. And that will give me the Steinberg. So this will give me Steinberg, and that will give me Oren. Okay, so now that we have those strings, then I can do some math and figure out this guy. So obviously I need to find the first character. First character should be easy enough. First character is char C is first name at 0, right? That's the first character on that string. And I want to have this guy, name to be this guy plus my last name, right? I want the first character, which is O, plus the last name, which is Steinberg, so that I get the O Steinberg. Only thing I didn't do is change the E to a 3. So before that thing, before I add it, I will make a for loop or a while loop, doesn't really matter, and go through the string. And every time I see a e, I will change it to a 3. So I equals 0, I less than s dot length. Again, length property is given in the methods, right? This guy, length guy. And then I plus plus. And every time I see a c, so if s dot asset I equal to not c, I'm sorry, e, lowercase e, right? Let me see the question. Where is that? Yeah, lowercase e. So if I say lowercase e, then I have to replace that value. So where's the replace function? Is this guy. And it has 3 parameters: the current index, the amount, and what I want to replace with. So in our case, my replace will be as dot replace. Current index is I, amount is 1 because I want only one character to change, and I want to change it with the character 3, right? The index I'm currently at, how many characters I want to change, and what do I want to change with. So this e becomes 3. And that's actually the entire code if you didn't realize it. And I have to close the function at the end. So again, what's going on? I just somehow find out some way to capture these 2 variables, right? This one and that one. The smallest, easiest way I could have think of is by finding the first space and the last space, and then do some math to figure out, how many characters to take and how to get the actual first name. Once I figure these 2 variables, then I can just take the first character by doing this guy, because this is an array of characters. And the last one, I'll keep it the whole thing, except I just change the e to a 3. That means I just go through the string again with the for loop. Every time I see a e, I use the replace function that they provided, and I change the e to a 3. Once this loop is done, my last name will have the Steinberg with ST3INBBRG, and I can just add this guy, prepend with a C. So C was a O, so I can add a O in front, and that is my final name. And again, I don't have to return anything because it's the void function, and I just change the name variable permanently in this line of code, and that's the end of it. Okay. Any questions so far?
I think for the R find, it's supposed to be S dot R find for that
Oh yeah,
one.
you're right. Yeah, I didn't even realize that. Yeah, same thing with s.find, it has to be s.rfind. Yeah, don't make these mistakes in your exam. You're gonna get points off. Obviously, it's like 1 point off, but it's like silly mistake. Okay, if you guys don't have any questions, unfortunately we have to leave. But before you leave, please feel free to do the not the attendance form, feedback form, the one Vika sent recently. Tell us where I did good, where I did bad, so we can host more review sessions in the future. I'll stay for 1 or 2 more minutes if you guys have any questions of the problems I did so far. If you guys didn't have any question, have a great night and good luck with your finals. Okay, I will stop the recording. Again, the recording will be posted in the Learning Commons YouTube channel as long as the website. People who join late, again, my mistake, and you can look at the video to catch up what we did in the earlier part of the session.